Many people have confused Moonlight as a movie for the homosexual experience of a man in a society of repression, when in reality, it is a story about the search of personal identity in a world that exempts you from being your true self. Chiron, the protagonist of the story, is finding himself constantly affected by the world that surrounds him, so much so that he reacts with the only way is expected from a person like him to react. Knowing what you want and achieving it are two different things. It is up to the world that you find yourself to find that these two alienate each other or coexist. And Chiron, due to the society that he is living in, he shuts down his needs and acts like his society wants him to act in order to survive in it. Our minds are created and shaped in order to make us survive, not to make us happy. When Chiron became a teenager, he was being bullied by one of his classmates, and instead of taking the choice that is better fit to his character, a calm and composed reaction, he chooses to hit the ever-living shit out of his classmate, leading him to a life that is better suited for a boy that makes this kind of choices. His sensitive character is stuck between two roads, and he chooses to go in the middle. Chiron is getting pushed to his limit. His mother doesn't care about him. His father figure is dead. His friend backstabbed him. For mere second, Chiron existed, but not as himself. When Chiron broke that chair in that bully's back, we saw Chiron break himself. That's not a little boy that enjoyed the oceans peacefully. That's a person that has been punished for not being a man. After beating his bully, he got stuck into a life of violence and crime, because from that moment of violence, he felt like he existed. And he wanted to capture that feeling to replace his real one. When he felt like his true self, he got ignored, but after reacting in a way of violence, got the recognition he missed for so long in his life, and that was enough to make him forget who he is and what he truly wants. In a way, Chiron got pushed into a life of pretending to exist. We see adult Chiron washing his face in the same way he did when he was a teenager, by making a habit out of it. He has to remind himself that he is not someone that you screw around with, not repress this feeling. Even if Chiron changed and grew, he still feels the same he did back then. When Chiron becomes an adult, he finds himself fully adjusted to a world that he was forced to accept in order to not get ruined. Homosexuality is tied as a hidden need that young Chiron had. It is at his teenage that Chiron accepts needs but gets shunned for it, so he buries them aside. In one scene, Kevin asks Chiron what his nickname was when he was a child, and Chiron responds, Lil. This moment is significant because it shows how Chiron has lost touch with his inner child and his true self. By reclaiming the nickname Lil, Chiron is able to reconnect with a part of himself that he has suppressed for so long. It is when Chiron, after a life of being close to himself and emotionally introverted, he meets Kevin again, his childhood friend and only love interest, that he reveals that what he wanted since he was a child.
You're the only man that's ever touched me.
When Chiron admitted what he wanted to say all along, he meant that literally and metaphorically. In all his life, Chiron hid this childhood desire through a persona that made him survive the world he was in. In the last scene, we see little Chiron looking at the blue ocean, and then us. This child invites us to do the same, to accept ourselves, the humble desires of our inner child. It doesn't matter what you believe or where you came from. We all have an inner child inside us, in hiding, that reveals itself through love. The human spirit gets affected easily by the world around it, but nonetheless, you owe it to your soul to be your true self. You have to try to feel the childhood wish of your inner self, to protect it from the vices of the world that surrounds it, reveal it to the right people. You can either pretend to exist through ignoring what you really want in the expense of others, or you can grow towards pursuing what you really want in the first place. Your inner child deserves the peace it craves desperately. See ya, love you.